400-pound, 6'5" black Turk with a mohawk. Now, that's an important fact because that makes me unique. And I guarantee you, you're not going to run into another 400-pound, 6'5" black Turk with a mohawk. And if you do, get in touch with my management. They're somewhere in here. It's like a copyright infringement thing going on or something. I want to talk to you about a concept that you're familiar with, and that's the idea of paying it forward. Now, I'm a record producer and a musician, so I call it play it forward. I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I am from the city of Istanbul, Turkey, and it is a mixture of Eastern and Western influences. Nothing more exemplified this mixture for me than my beautiful mom. That's her on the right. That's my son on the left. My mom used to walk around the house all day singing songs from every walk of life. I mean, she used to sing songs like Turkish folk songs by people like İbrahim Tatlıses and Bülent Ersoy. I'm sure you know who that is. But then she would also sing that style of music that we all think about when we think about a country like Turkey. That one thing that when you mention Turkey, you think, yep, this music right here. Of course, I'm talking about Motown and soul music. She would come into my room sometimes to wake me up in the morning for school when I was going to high school, singing, "You make me feel like a natural woman." Mom, okay, we understand. I tell you what, they're going to school that day, even though I'm a 400-pound, 6'5" black Turk with a mohawk, I could not feel more like a natural woman that day at school. Yeah, my mom definitely kept music in my life. And later, I would get devastating news about my mother. I'm going to fast forward to a time early in my career as a record producer where I'm sitting in a room with an amazing artist, a 1 in a million opportunity. I'm sitting in the recording studio. Early in my career, I was definitely excited to be in this room. And I get a phone call that makes me forget where I am. And it's my brother. And he says, "Oak, you got to come home. Mom has cancer." Now, what do you do in that situation? I live in Los Angeles. My mom lives in Istanbul. It's a 14-hour flight. It's not easy to just get to Istanbul, not leaving that night. What do you do when somebody gives you, in a moment that is your biggest opportunity and the greatest moment of your life, the worst news of your life? You have two choices. You can leave, which is what I wanted to do, and deal with those emotions, or stay and take advantage of the opportunity that was in front of me, but bottle up those emotions. And that's what I chose to do. I compartmentalized my emotions, and I stayed. And I tell you what, that came at a detriment to me because you have no idea what kind of damage that kind of emotional turmoil does to you if you keep it in. Until later on, I'm driving down the street, and I hear, at that moment, out of my radio, the one song I needed to hear at the moment I needed to hear it. And the lyrics go, "When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom, let it be." Now, let me tell you something about Paul McCartney. I don't know him. I've never met him before in my life. Never even been to the town that he grew up in. Our life experiences couldn't be more different. But in that moment, Sir Paul McCartney gave me permission to feel. He gave me permission to be sad. He gave me permission to take those emotions that I had bottled up inside that was destroying me and process them and let them out. And I'll tell you, I was definitely letting them out because driving down the street, my face was wet with tears. And it really helped because I was able to get my stuff together and go help my mom with her treatment and her recovery. Now, you'll be glad to know that I actually spoke to my mom this morning. And she said two things. She said, son, good luck, because you're going to need it. But she also said, are you sure you want to wear those shoes? I like my taste in shoes. I don't know. Suffice it to say, I owed the universe a favor at this point. I needed to play it forward because right then, the universe, via Paul McCartney, did me a solid. And I needed that. And now I needed to play it forward. In order to do that, I had to enlist the help of my friends. Let me introduce you to them. It's the most accurate depiction I could get in short notice. We'll start with Pop. Pop Wansel, constant collaborator of mine, my friend and brother, amazing record producer, the son of Philly soul royalty, awesome guy. Sebastian Cole, singer-songwriter from the great city of Birmingham, Alabama, the son of a reverend who was raised in the church singing gospel music. Our mutual friend, Technology. Talk about her in a second. And last but not least, a then 17-year-old Canadian Italian from the suburbs of Toronto named Alessia Cara. Now, Alessia's sitting in the studio one day. Here's the thing about being in the studio. Sometimes we sit around just waiting for inspiration to strike, right? I mean, don't tell the labels that because then they won't pay for our studio time, but sitting in the studio and she's watching a show about plastic surgery gone wrong. I'm sure you've seen these shows, right? You've seen what these people put themselves through. And she asked the room, she said, what is it about our society that makes this happen? Sebastian goes, what do you mean? What is it about society that makes a person feel like they need to change themselves so drastically to be accepted by it? Why does it happen? So she was on a mission. She wanted to write a song. She wanted to memorialize a message in music that said, you're beautiful just the way you are. And you don't have to change a thing about yourself. And as a matter of fact, the world should change its perception of you. There are no scars to your version of beautiful. She wanted to write a song. Now, let me tell you something about writing a song. I'm going to tell you what one of my biggest pet peeves is. When somebody comes out of a studio and they say, hey, Oak, I just wrote a song. No, you didn't. You didn't write a song because you didn't play it for anybody yet. Why is that? Because a song is a conduit of emotion from me to you. It's a way for me to convey what I'm feeling directly to you, the listener. And some people are really good at this. Imagine my surprise to find out later that Paul McCartney wrote Let It Be about his mom. Not only that, he wrote it about his mom with cancer. Now, what is it about the emotional context of what he was writing down that spoke to me in that exact moment that I needed to hear it? He definitely did what he set out to do, and that was write a song that spoke to people who needed it, and I was one of those people. And Alessia wanted to do the same thing. And in order to be able to do that, she was going to need a little help from her friends, namely me, your favorite 400-pound, 6'5" black Turk with a mohawk, and our mutual friend, Technology. Let me introduce you to Technology. So, for anybody who's wondering, this is my rig right here. And this is some of the equipment that I would typically use to do production. What I'm going to do right now is something that I've only done once or twice before, and it never goes right. So bear with me. I'm going to recreate the production for Scars to Be Beautiful, and you guys are going to help me. You ready to do that? Yeah. Fantastic. Can I get the screen here, please? All right, cool. So, usually when we're in the studio, I have a piano set up because the piano is the easiest instrument to write with. And That day in the studio, Alessia already kind of had the concept down and the chord progression, which went something like this. Okay, so there's our basic progression. I'm going to do something here that we call layering, which is a way for me to take what I just played and stretch it across multiple instruments to make this sound a little bit thicker. Now, these are like production secrets. I don't want you guys to tell anybody about this, okay? Just letting you know. I'm going to add an organ right quick. There we are. All right, so now that we've done that. All right. I'm going to go ahead and add a bass line here. All right. Doesn't sound like much yet, but you just wait. All right, so now I'm going to add some drums here. This is the part of the production that when we did the track originally, my partner Pop absolutely nailed. I'm going to try to emulate what he did that day in the studio. I'm sure I'm going to fail, but and I'm sure he'll tell me that I failed later. I'm going to add the drums. All right. So now we have our basic part, right? Do a little bit of editing here. The interesting thing to note about being in the studio is that it's a lot of editing and a lot of waiting. A lot of people think that you're in the studio and it's like a constant good time. Trust me, it's not. We enjoy it just the same, though. Alrighty. Okay, so now that I've done that, make sure I did that correctly. So now that I've done that, I want you guys to help me with something. Because the thing about music is that it's all about unity. And it's all about everybody feeling together. So you're going to sing for me. And I'm going to tell you why you're going to sing for me. Because I'm a 400-pound, 6'5" black Turk with mohawk. It's going to be real easy. Okay, here we go. I want you to just repeat after me, okay? All right, so this is what we're going to do. Sing after me. I'm going to go. Oh, 2, 3. That's beautiful. One more time. Oh, last time. Oh. Oh my God, y'all sound incredible. That's awesome. Start going out into the crowd and finding people to sign out here. That's amazing. Okay, all right, good. So now that we have that, we're going to add a couple of things, a little bit of atmospheric stuff in the production, and then we're going to add the vocals. Now I'm going to emulate Alessia's vocals because she is not here to re-record them. But I'll tell you something about Alessia and how fast she is in the studio. From the time that she thought of this concept to the time that we get to this point in the production and she's recorded it, couldn't have been longer than 5.5 to 6 hours. I mean, that girl is incredible. So, after all of that, we have this.
There's a hope that's waiting for you in the dark. You should know you're beautiful just the way you are. And you don't have to change a thing, the world could change its heart. No scars, see you're beautiful. We're stars and we're beautiful.
It's your debut! And that's how we made the production of Scars Too Beautiful. Thank you very much. Now, here's the question. We made a really cool piece of music, but did we make a song? Well, let's see.
Can you sing Scars to Your Beautiful now?
She just wants to be beautiful. She goes, I know there's enough. Oh, makes she craves. There's a hope is to follow you in the dark. You should know you're beautiful just the way you are. And you don't have to change a thing. Where it could change your time. No scars, you're beautiful. Cause you're beautiful.
You know, we're all human beings, right? And it is a privilege for me to have a talent that allows me to make something in a moment that somebody needs it, like that one. Paul McCartney did that for me, and I was lucky enough to play it forward for Evie. I look around at this beautiful audience, and I see so much potential for individual talent. I know that we all have the ability to play it forward. So play it forward. Thank you very much. Thank you.